Get ready. It's going to be a very, very intense journey.
Hello, Internet, and welcome to what is probably episode 162 of Frameskip, a video game podcast. I am wearing the dad pants tonight, which means I am hosting. I'm George from Shortbox Summary, joined by the technical wizard himself, Austin. Austin, how the hell is it going? It's been a minute.
It's going good, George. I don't know if I would call myself the technical wizard, but it's pretty good.
Like, I think you're a smart guy. Like, I think base level, you're just like smart. Like, I trust you in a lot of situations. Where I like trust you exceptionally is like anytime I have like a tech question, just because I'm so PC.
Yeah.
Incapable, one of those words. I just like defer to you, and you usually can explain something in a way that like you're just so much faster than Google, because not only can I can explain what I think the problem is, and then you can tell me what the actual problem is, and then put me on a path towards a solution in a way that, frankly, Google just can't. Where I'm just like,
yeah,
how to make Oblivion work on Steam Deck, and they're just like, this. You just install it. I'm like, it's a little more complicated than that.
Turn it off and back on.
Yeah, like you provide a little bit more insight than a 4-year-old Reddit post.
I'll
at
take
this
it.
Point. So
I'll take it.
The old T-Dubs himself, technical wizard himself.
All
Austin.
right. But yeah, no, I'm doing well, George. I hope you are. It has been a while. We've had certainly a lot going on. I've had a lot, frankly, personally, that's been extremely challenging for me these past few weeks. So it's good to be back here.
Good to have you back, man. And yeah, we love this podcast. There's like honestly very few things I look forward to more than having maybe a glass of wine and talking to you or Seth or Coach about video games. But I gotta be honest, it's not the most important thing. Like sometimes life gets in the way and we can't do it. We still talk every day. We still share things every day. So like we're good. If we didn't put an episode in 2 weeks, it's not like, oh shit, podcast is falling apart. It's like, no, we're still pretty tight, still pretty close. It's just like life gets in the way. So sorry. I know we're super entertaining and you guys love seeing us be together. We love being together, but it's not always in the cards.
It's true.
Yeah.
So as much as I would love to have this be a full-time job and something we could do like multiple times a week, it's not.
Oh man, I've like run out of YouTube content I want to watch. I've started watching YouTube content I'm like tangentially interested in, like during the day. Like I feel like I've watched all of like my retro things that I want to, like people like, in 2025 re-examining a TV show from the mid-90s. Yeah. So I went back and I've done this thing that I've started to do before, but I found a playlist that had 300 plus episodes of X-Play.
Nice.
And so I've just been going back and watching X-Play, and man, I know like I've done work for big video game companies, big video game news companies. It's not all it's cracked up to be. I know the job was harder than just hanging out in a giant studio in San Francisco and then later Santa Monica with like a sparsely decorated set where they just get to talk about Battlefield 1942. I know it's more complicated than that, but goddamn, does that seem like so much fun? Just hanging out with Adam Susser and Morgan Webb in 2003, talking about everything Battlefield 1942.
That's so true.
Brought to the gaming table.
Okay, so this is completely unrelated to. I mean, I guess it's related to that in a way, but you were just, mentioning, of course, what you've been watching recently. I brought this up a few weeks ago, and I can't remember if I ever talked about this on the show, but I know I talked about it like very briefly in our WhatsApp group chat between the four of us. Andie and I, maybe 2 months ago, suddenly fell into this whole rabbit hole on YouTube, which is the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel. Do you know about this guy, George?
Never heard of them once. Please tell me about the Outdoor
so this is
Boys
completely
YouTube.
Unrelated to gaming or things that those in our sphere would typically care about. But it's a guy who lives in Alaska with his family. He has a wife and like 3 young kids. I think they're all boys, and it's like 11 and younger, I think is the age range. And he has a range of videos, but the bulk of the videos that like I just cannot get enough of that he's been doing for years is he'll go out in Alaska or other parts where he's traveling. He did a series recently in Japan. Like he's done other things, but he'll go out and he will do these like survival videos where he'll go out with basic supplies, but no sleeping bag and no tent. And he will like build a shelter.
Okay.
It's something you would like experience in the forest, like the video game, where he's going out and like chopping down trees, like laying out logs to make a bed, drying out the logs to use them as wood for a fire, and like cooking his meat that he's brought along with him, that is of course is still frozen because it's like -10 degrees in Alaska, so he doesn't even have to worry about like bringing ice packs. Right. But it's just fascinating. It's like this survival series, and the thing I love about him though is he's so down to earth. Certainly the dude's rich because he's got like 15 million subscribers. My understanding is before this he was like the top traffic attorney in Virginia, so he like did the DC area and suddenly had enough of it and just decided to move back home where he was from and do this. But I'm telling you, man, there's something so addicting about those videos. It is so interesting to watch someone go out, and it's actually made me like want to get back into fishing, like something I used to do when I was a kid. I really haven't done as an adult, so that's been my rabbit hole.
Is that your favorite like non-nerdy YouTube content?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, even though I've only been watching him for like a couple months at this point, he's all I watch. Like everything else that I watch, of course, is, and we'll talk about it in a moment, but like been watching a lot of videos about Steam Deck and the Ambernick and modding and stuff like that. But outside of that, like almost the only thing I watch exclusively outside of the nerd realm on YouTube is Outdoor Boys.
the two things I do outside of nerd shit, and I watch basically the same videos you do. I don't understand them, which is why I text you so many times throughout the day being like, wait, what does this mean? Again, T-Dubs himself, technical wizard, Austin. The two things I watch are there's no Asian restaurants near where I live, and I used to live like a 5-minute walk downhill to Japantown in San Francisco, so I really miss authentic tasting food. I'm not going to get that here, so I've been like trying to learn how to cook it myself. There's one YouTube channel. I know, no free ads. I don't care. If they want to send us $1 for this, they can. Aaron and Claire is this like Korean couple that just make the most simple, delicious meals I've ever seen. And like the guy just has such a great attitude. I think he used to be like a chef in the army in Korea because they have conscription, and like the way he talks about food, I feel like he's mentioned it before. If he hasn't, I'm really sorry for just projecting that on you, Aaron. But no, like teaches you how to make bulgogi in like 5 steps kind of deal. And like it's absolutely delicious. That's other awesome. YouTube channel I watch, I have like really bad drainage around my house, and man, the amount of times I just like sit on YouTube and watch people like creating French drains in their yard, like trying to figure out like, oh man, like, oh, that's it's flowing way faster than like a 1-inch slope. Like what's the secret to this guy being able to just get all that rain out so fast? Like I'm such a fucking loser. Anyways, I look up French drain videos. It is very satisfying to see someone building a trench and then just like draining like a flooded yard. And then Aaron and Claire, if you're looking for like a simple way, like they have so many videos that are like, you can cook this dinner in 25 minutes. Like don't have time to cook. Don't worry about it. Here you go. Here's a bulgogi rice bowl. Here's how you make Mongolian beef. Here's how you do all this. Like he just breaks down what I think are super complex and increasingly expensive menu items at the few Chinese and Thai restaurants that are around me.
So it's Aaron. Is it Aaron like AARON or okay? Yeah,
Aaron and Claire. Yeah.
Okay.
He put out a cookbook a year ago, 2 years ago. Very good stuff, man. Super delicious. Cannot recommend it enough. Nice. Anyways, you're not here for our recipe recommendations. You're not here for our Outdoor Boys living. Although real quick before we move on. Sorry, I started the segue and I got lost in it. Yeah. I've been getting more into YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels lately, much to my detriment. But I've been curating my algorithm, so it's all like stand-up comedy, so it's been great. But every once in a while, like a cooking video will sneak in, and I had to impose a rule that like I'm not going to watch a video where someone cooks an $80 steak outside. Like I'm just not going to do it. You know, where it's like a super serene, beautiful lake, and then you just see like A5 Wagyu drop onto like a stump or
Right.
something. I'm like, no, I'm not fucking doing this, man. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not
'cause
gonna
no one
watch some
does that.
dude. Yeah, I'm not gonna watch some dude just like cook Chilean sea bass in tinfoil around the charcoal. Like, I'm just not doing it because like I'm never. If I'm in that situation, man, I am not making a Michelin star meal. It's fine. Like, I'm eating whatever fucking acorns and like sunflower seeds I hopefully still find on the ground. Like, it's
Yeah. Bark.
yeah, yeah, basically, yeah. Like, we're not doing this. Anyways, games and stuff like games. Before we get into the games, I've been on a tear lately, man. I have gotten really into the idea of digital backups. I've been buying a
Hmm.
lot more portable hard drives before the tariffs like really kick in on
Yeah.
incoming stock. And so I have gotten very adept at backing up my Blu-ray collection, and I've been looking through my DVD collection. I've just been like buying stuff whenever it's on sale, and I realized I have the first 9 seasons of Pokemon on
Nice.
DVD, and I've just been backing those up.
Yeah.
And I'm finally like, I made it through the Indigo League. I saw the end of Indigo League, which I never had before. That was really cool. And I'm halfway through the Orange Islands adventures right now. But man, I've been getting really into ripping Blu-rays, and because I'm such a huge Gundam fan, and a bunch of the series I bought are only on Blu-rays, man, that's been a real pain in the dick to rip Blu-rays. But man, it's been so much fun. I don't know why. I'm like okay downloading games I own, like the ROM hacks of those. It's like, oh well, I own everything or nothing on Xbox and PlayStation 2.
Right.
So like in theory, like I don't feel bad. As opposed to like buying a PlayStation 2, getting like a FireWire connection, whatever, to like rip the disc on the console, send it to my PC, like format it correct. Like I'm like, no, I'm not doing all that. I barely know what those words mean. But I've been getting really into digitizing my collection, man. It's been super fun. Make MKV is a great app, especially for a Mac person like me. It works surprisingly well. Had some issues when I upgraded to Sequoia, which is like the new Mac OS system, but no, man, it's been super cool, super fun, and I love having like my physical collection, but it's so nice also having a hard drive. My goal, of course, is to unsubscribe to everything I am subscribed to and save money that way.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm really just subscribed to Netflix for Seinfeld and Monday Night Raw at this point. Don't love that, you know.
I've
Feels
been wanting
bad.
to take a look at mine too. And yeah, I love the idea of digitizing everything. I need to do that, but I guess we'll have to talk off air or something about it. I'm sure I have a way to do it without buying like a Blu-ray player for my PC. Like I guess you could probably take like a capture card or something and have the Blu-ray rolling on like a PS5
Maybe
and capture it
I
that way.
haven't tried that.
I don't know. But
Honestly, I just bought like a plug-in USB Blu-ray drive. They're like
Okay.
$60.
oh,
Like,
that's
they're
not bad at all. It's not bad at
and
all.
so like I have 2. For some reason, I can't get Handbrake to work on my more modern Mac Mini that like I'm
Interesting.
recording this on. But Make MKV works like a dream on it, and it's got a bigger hard drive, and Blu-ray files are huge. So like
Right.
I've been using that to do my Blu-rays, and I actually have like an older MacBook from like 2016, 2015 maybe. That Handbrake works like a dream on that, and so like that's what I do my DVDs on.
Nice.
And it's been a really nice system of just doing that. But it's just like there was this show with, remember Andy Richter, like the sidekick for Conan O'Brien. He had a show in the 2000s called Andy Richter Controls the Universe, and I found the DVD I bought when I was in high school.
Nice.
And it's just like I'm super paranoid about disc rot, which is why I backed up like my entire GameCube collection last year.
Yeah.
And looking to do that for everything else, because these are going to go someday, and I don't like that because I bought them.
Dude, it's crazy too. Like you can go down such a rabbit hole with that. And this is something I need to help my family with. My mom last year when I think it was last year when my great-grandmother passed away, my great-grandmother had, and I have them all, this massive collection of photo albums that are literally filled with photos that are like 150 years old, of like my great-great-grandmother and her family, and then my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather when they were young, and like all this stuff. And so that's a project I've been wanting to do. My mom bought me this photo scanner where you can stack in like 50 photos and it'll just shoot them through the scanner, the glass. So
Right. Sorry, I'll be
You're
right
fine.
back. I'm gonna grab something.
Yeah. So for the audience, though, that's what I've really been wanting to digitize. All right. George is back. What did you find?
Originally,
A video capture.
yeah, with like the RCA, like the for analog video, and bought that specifically. Bought at the time, so I thought I could like stream older game consoles, but realized very quickly that like, oh shit, I can like back up all my dad's old home videos with this, and that became like the most important thing to do with that. So yeah, preserve what you've got, make backups, just because there's no chance to ever get it again if you lose it.
That's true.
So just be careful.
So.
All right, I think that's enough of a PSA. I think we're ready to move to games. Austin, what the heck have you been playing lately? Have you been swooned by the Blue Prince? Is that what you've been doing lately?
I haven't.
Have you been South of Midnight? No?
I haven't played either of those. Although Blueprints, have you played it out of curiosity?
I've watched some videos and like everyone's like, oh, the first like big game of the year contenders here, and it just sounds like my nightmare of a game. I'm sure like playing it will get you addicted, but I'm like, man, from the outside, that's not for me, man.
I like puzzle games, but everything I've read about it, I don't know. I'll probably wait for a price drop on it and try it out. I'm just concerned that that's the kind of game I'm going to attempt to like and absolutely hate because of how frustrating it sounds. So
yeah.
Anyway, to answer your question, though,
it's games like that, games like Transcription, games like Loop Hero, like all these games like sound awesome. Like they sound like they're well made, they sound good. But I'm just like, oh, that's actually just not what I want to do when I have 2 hours and I could sit on a couch and play games, you know?
Yeah. But I'll probably play it eventually. I could see it being like a game that Andie and I sit down together and play, like just watching and playing together, since it's just a very, puzzle focused game. But as far as what I have actually been playing and not what I'm thinking about playing in the future, of course, more Monster Hunter Wilds on PC. Up to date. They released, I think, in the time frame of the last episode of the podcast. In this episode, they released the first title update, which is, they call them title updates, but it's like they're big updates that they release every 3 to 4 months after the games come out, and so they're always free. And this one was quick because it was like the first one. Usually, that first one will come out about a month after the game releases, and this one did. Brought out one new returning monster and gave you like a harder version of the final boss that you could fight, and new armor for him and stuff. And so I've done all that. I'm pretty much up to date content wise. I'm still grinding, but I'm definitely not going as hard on the game as I was. I think I'm at about 90 hours now. The game's been out for almost 2 months. So it's good though. I really like it. I'm definitely slowing down. I'm sure once, the next title update releases in June, July-ish is what the time frame sounds like, I'll be way back in it. But for now, like, I will say that the end game in this game is not quite as compelling as I would have hoped. Monster Hunter World and Rise both had a really good like loop once you beat the story and got through the updates, but right now I would say Wilds is a little lacking. I'm sure the expansion, whenever that releases, their major paid expansion, which would presumably be next fall, whenever that releases, I'm sure it'll give some really good end game loop there. But for now, it's not my favorite. If I had any major complaints about the game, it would probably be that, now that I have spent so much time in the end game. But
right. Played a little bit with Seth maybe 2 weeks ago. I had like a lighter day at work in the afternoon on Friday, so we just like jumped in. I don't love it. It feels really spongy. Like it really felt like, granted, Seth was way higher level than me. It's like I think he joined my team. Like we could only do stuff that I had unlocked, which was annoying. I thought we could like kind of progress through the story together, but like we couldn't do anything I hadn't unlocked yet. At least like that was my experience. I think the menu navigation is very difficult for someone who's never played a Monster Hunter game before. But it felt bullet spongy in the way that like the Destiny bosses felt bullet spongy back in like 2014 when you were first playing and you were going up against like that giant fucking orb thing on like a strike or whatever. And so like I had a great time just like hanging out with Seth, talking about life, hearing about like his job interview for like another position or whatever. But like the actual act of playing together, I didn't find super fun. I want to play with you and Seth, but it seems like I need to play more on my own.
Yeah, it's
to really get there. Yeah,
see, that was kind of how I operated. Like the first 20, 25 hours, Andie and I played it through together, like simultaneously. So we were like keeping up on the same quests and doing those together. But if you're not actively doing that with someone, like if you're playing with Seth or me, of course, someone who's much further on, I think it does, in a way, at least that first, like I said, maybe 15, 20 hours kind of aid you to play single player for a little bit. I'm not saying don't play multiplayer, but that would be my recommendation at least. But of course, I'm a little biased because I have such a history with the franchise. I think, as we've mentioned before on the podcast, of course, I kind of feel like I know what I'm doing for the most part. There's certainly things that I'm still learning every day when I play, but the issue is like for someone like you to play single player entirely, I know it's a little harder to kind of figure out what's going on and get into it is the issue. So
it's fun, it's pretty, but like I guess I was expecting to be more streamlined for consoles. Like it really felt like an MMO PC game with like the amount of menu navigation you had to do. And like it took us a minute to figure out how to set up like a party for us to go on a mission together. And that was just like, I thought we'd figured this out by now.
Yeah. There's a lot that's overly complicated. The party system's pretty bad, to be honest with you. And the menus, I totally agree with you. Like even the act of adding someone as a friend, when Andie and I started playing, it took us so long to even just figure that out. There's so much that just doesn't feel like good UX. And I mean, gosh, I hope they improve on it with the next game, but they've had this issue for so long. But I almost feel like this is worse than it's been in the past two games. I feel like it's worse than it was in World and Rise, at least like the menu and the user experience specifically. So, yeah,
and also I don't think this is like, I don't think this is a unique problem. Like I've been trying to play. Everyone in my friend group on like Tuesdays that I usually play with after we record this podcast, they're all kind of sick of Helldivers, which sucks because like I still think it's like the greatest game ever. So we've been playing GTA Online, just like trying to get ready for GTA 6 and just like trying to play more of this game before we probably never play it again. And like, man, that mission structure for GTA Online like sucks ass. Like it is so bad to like actually do a mission with someone. Like the actual organization of it, getting ready, like going around into the casino and playing games is great. Like that's super fun. I love losing money in that situation with them, but like actually organizing a mission to do, like it's such a pain in the ass, and I just don't understand. I'm like, how is this like one of the best selling games, if not the best selling game of all time, except for Minecraft probably?
Dude,
to get into it, I don't get it.
Yeah, I liked GTA Online when it came out, but I don't know how I'd feel about it now because they've added so much to it, and it sounds like an MMO from like everything they've added. So it was pretty simplistic when it first came out. Like you would just go around and there were a few missions you could do, but for the most part, it was like you had 2 or 3 heists at the most, I think. And you could go like rob convenience stores and kill each other. That was like kind of the extent of what you could do. So it sounds very intimidating now, but anyway,
it's gorgeous. Like we're playing the PS5 version, and like, I can't believe this is like an online game that's running. Like it's like a miracle that it works, but it's just such a headache to like actually get something started.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's weird.
So I've got 2 more games quickly.
Please.
Pokemon Legends Arceus. I started playing, I think, between last episode and this episode. and I'm not super far in. I've only gotten like 2 stars, I think is what they're called, instead of like badges in that game. And so I've played maybe 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours, something like that. I beat the Cleaver, I think is the Hisuian like form of Scyther or whatever, like that gold one. I beat that boss, and I think that's kind of where I stopped. Like I did a little bit after. The problem is I'm running into like I'm just not really wanting to play my Switch right now. Like I just don't want to be on that platform. So I just kind of stopped playing. But I do really like what I've played so far. I am trying to continue it, but my mind has been elsewhere. So, and then the other game I've been playing, I started up. I definitely remember mentioning this on the last episode. I bought the entirety of the Devil May Cry series for like $30 on Steam. So, yeah. Devil May Cry HD Collection 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and DMC, the kind of spin-off, unrelated one. I bought all those for like $30 total a few months ago, and decided I was just gonna, now that Monster Hunter was kind of coming down for me, I was just gonna try another Capcom game that I haven't ever played. I've never played any of those games, and so I jumped into Devil May Cry 1, and I haven't played too much. I'm maybe 3 hours in. I'm on mission 5 out of the 20 missions, I think, of the game. The game's pretty short. I think it's only like 6 or 7 hours long at most. Dude, 2 things. That game freaking rules, 1. And 2, that game is freaking hard. I was not anticipating how hard that game was. I mean, it's like Dark Souls level difficulty. Some of the bosses specifically, the mobs and stuff that you're fighting, the general enemies, is not too bad, but I got earlier to, and I'm sure from my understanding, he's like a major character in the series. I don't even know his name, but he's like a knight guy, this like Black Knight guy. He's like the first major boss you really run into in DMC1. And it took me so many freaking tries to beat that guy because he was so damn hard. But it gave good Dark Souls energy in a way because it wasn't unfair. Like it was learning the fight and learning how to adjust to his mechanics and when you're supposed to attack, when those openings are. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to playing more. It's such an interesting game to me. I don't know how I've never played this series at all. I mean, I have literally no experience with DMC whatsoever. But so far, I really like it. The problem I'm going to run into, though, is do I play 2? Because that's the game that everyone says is not very good. But I'm the kind of person that, like, these games are so short. I mean, I feel like I need to try it. I feel like I need to play it, but I don't know.
No, you do. You absolutely do need to play it. Like I'm not a Devil May Cry guy. I don't really like those kinds of action games. Like I find them oddly stressful. So I usually stay away from them. But like even I know like 2's the bad one. 2's dog shit. 3 is like one of the best things that's ever happened in a video game. No, I think you got to try it, man. Like you got to form your own opinion. You got to check it out for yourself. And you're playing it on PC. Yeah,
PC. So, and it's interesting. The game, even on PC, the HD collection is pretty old at this point. I think is that a PS3 game? I don't even think that came out on PS4. I can't remember.
HD collection was a PS3 game. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, it's got to be what, like 15 years old, probably 13 to 15 years old, somewhere around there. But it's interesting. Yeah. I'll have to do some research on it, but it seems like the HD collection, when you boot it up, is a launcher for like basically each game that's like upscaled. So you'll boot it up, it'll show the splash screen with 1, 2, and 3. You click 1, and the whole thing closes, and you're on your desktop. And then suddenly this random screen pops up with 1. And it's so low resolution compared to the launcher. It's very interesting. I don't know if it's like the original PC version of the game or something that they've just compiled into this launcher, but it runs well, it plays well. So that's all that matters, I suppose.
Yeah, that's great. You're actually the second person to bring up that game series is on sale. I work with a video editor who's a huge gamer, and like we always just talk games, but like we're usually the first two people in the meeting. We're like, so dude, what have you been playing lately? And he was like, dude, you got to grab this. It's on sale. And like you sent me that link about Metro 2033 Redux being free. As soon as you sent that, I immediately sent that to him because I'm like, hey man, it's free, and like I know you have a Steam Deck, so like grab it while you can.
Yeah.
So he was the one who told me about the DMC sale after you. I might check it out on PlayStation 3 just to give it a whirl. I've been itching to get more into retro games, which is why the number one game I've been playing lately. And I've mentioned it to you, and I mentioned it to Fabio, two people who I know love the shit out of games. And the response from either of you is either I have no idea this game existed, or oh my god, I completely forgot that game was a thing. I am talking about Advent Rising, which is a third-person shooter from the original Xbox era. It is available now on Series X, Series S, Xbox One, all that shit. It's like a Xbox classic. I think it's even on PC. This game got so much hate because instead of doing like it's a third-person shooter with like a lock-on system, but it doesn't have Z targeting the way that like Ocarina of Time does. It has like flick targeting. So like you use the right joystick, which is the same joystick you use to move the camera, and then you like flick it in the direction of an enemy, and then you start shooting them. I think halfway through the game. It is supposed to be a very short game. I played it for like 3 hours. This game fucking rocks, Austin. Like, this game is like if Halo and Mass Effect had a baby. The presentation is incredible, and like the script writing is amazing. You play humans in like the far-flung future. Earth was destroyed. You managed to escape and survive. You make contact with this alien species, and this alien species is like, hey, we've long admired humans. Man, you guys have had it really rough. We're really sorry about the Seekers or whatever the fuck they're called destroying you, but we have bad news. Like, they're gonna find you again. We think in like 3 days you guys need to prepare. And literally right after that meeting, the Seekers find you and start attacking you, and then it's just off to the races from there. This game is such an anachronism of the time it came out in, because it is so clunky with so many good ideas. And I gotta be honest, Austin, my head's been turning nonstop thinking about this game, because this is what I think I miss about games. Do you remember a time before controls were like universal? Square meant reload, before R1 meant shoot, before L1 meant aim. This game, back then, every game was trying to solve something. And the reason Halo was so much bigger back in 2001, back in 2004 when Halo 2 came out, the reason those games were so big was because they were so much better, smarter, and faster than their competitors. There's a bunch of great shooters I love, especially from that era. I love Pariah on the original Xbox. I love Area 51. That one was on Xbox and PS2. Those are great games. They don't feel as good as Halo, which is why Halo is still around. And people are like, oh, fuck, Area 51. Yeah, I remember that game. There's a reason why you forgot about it until I just said it. Because those games were trying, and they just didn't nail it the way Halo did. And now other games have nailed it better than Halo, which is why Halo is like, yeah, Infinite was okay. That pursuit of like figuring out the best way for a game to play, I miss that. That was when games were most interesting. It was a race to figure out the best way for someone to interact with it. And man, I just can't stop thinking about that game. I'm so excited to finish it probably this weekend. Although it's WrestleMania weekend, so I don't know if I'll finish it this weekend, maybe next weekend. But god damn, Austin, that game is on PC. You're the T-dubs, you're the technical wizard. When you get your Steam Deck, you got to figure out how to make it run on your Steam Deck, and then you got to tell me so I can just have this game with me on the go wherever I go, because it is such a blast to play. I'm not saying it's like a great game, but it's so charming for what it was trying to do, especially back then. And you will see the Mass Effect influence immediately. You will see the Halo influence immediately. Sorry, Mass Effect influence is incorrect. The Knights of the Old Republic influence immediately, which then they re-borrowed back for Mass Effect. What a game. It is not perfect. It is highly enjoyable, despite how frustrating it is to play with that stupid flick targeting system.
Yeah, so you brought it up in our chat the other day, and I did look it up, and It was not familiar to me at all, although I did vaguely remember the box art, having seen it, but I did watch some gameplay after you sent it, and I didn't realize it was on PC until you just said that now. So I went and added it to my Steam wish list. It's only $10, so I'll have to look into that and see what it's like to get it running on Steam Deck, because it does look like this is not a port on Steam, like it's the original version, because if you look at the release date, it says 2005 on Steam. So, and normally the release date indicates when it dropped on Steam, not necessarily like the original release date per se, if that makes sense. So that to me indicates this is still the original version. And the reason I'm saying all this is because that means it's likely a little harder to get running on PC. So I'll have to look into that and see. But it looks interesting.
I assume so. It runs. I'm playing it on Series X. It's playing phenomenally on that.
Yeah.
And like every shortcoming isn't the console, isn't anything. It's like, oh, this is just what they thought was the best idea. It is a screenplay written by Orson Scott Card. It stars Will Friedle. That is your character. You play as Gideon. Man, this game just like rocks. Like this game was like every game at the time. Like this Killzone. I guess Half-Life to a certain extent, but not really.
Yeah.
So many games promised to be the Halo killer, and like none of them could.
Right.
You know, but like ironically, Halo ended up killing all these other games because it was just better. It was just a smoother experience. But like, man, this is the most enjoyable. I've been playing that and the original Jack and Daxter, the precursor legacy, because I'm still in my trophy war, and like that game is fine. It's a good 3D action platformer. But I'm just like, fuck, man. Like, Advent Rising is like the interesting game. Advent Rising, if I weren't in a trophy war, like I would have finished that game by now. But like, no, I gotta get my trophies to beat my friend Colin back into the darkness. But no, I'm saying this to Austin for the record, not a listener. I'll like Venmo you $10 and you just buy it on Xbox. And you just give it a whirl there, because like it's so cleaned up. It has, because it's like an HD version of like a analog looking game, everything looks so oddly pristine. You know, it looks like a memory of a game from that era. It doesn't look like a game from that era, but it doesn't matter. It's so pretty. And
dude,
I love it.
I love that era of games, man. I really think, I mean, of course I have fond memories of specifically the PS3 and that generation, and you know, the PSP and Vita kind of surrounding it. But that PS2, Xbox, GameCube generation, man, you're so right. Like everybody, and not even really just shooters, but that was kind of where everybody had gotten out of the PS1 N64 issue of games were just figuring out 3D, and in those beginning stages where half the games didn't play properly or work as well as they could have because it was so early on. That next generation, that PS2, GameCube, Xbox generation, was when, at least to me, I felt they had enough time with 3D to the point where they had figured out for the most part how to make the games work, but the difference was the controls and the way that they design levels and things like that. It was still primitive in a way. And so I mean, I think back on like those James Bond games that like released in that time frame, like how strange some of those games were with their controls and different things they tried to do. And of course it all kind of followed behind GoldenEye. I mean, GoldenEye was so weird too, control scheme wise back in the day, but I just love those consoles, man. They're so good. And I have so many games that like I think back fondly on. For some reason, this whole time we've been talking about this, the game that's been flashing in my mind is Mech Assault. I freaking love that game. So, well, both.
Is that on
there were
PC?
two, right?
Yeah, Lone Wolf was the second one. Yeah,
I'm looking it up. Let's see. I'm curious if that's on PC.
I
played so much of those games.
You should do me a favor and figure out how to get that to run on Steam Deck, and then let me know.
Okay.
Man, I should. I've been buying so much dumb shit lately. I bought a Switch Lite while it was on super sale on Woot. I grabbed that, and then today on Etsy, I just said fuck it, and I finally bought like a modded SATA drive to plug into the back of a PS2 Fat.
Nice.
And I bought that with like the chip I need, like the memory card hack that I need to like make it run. I'm just like, screw it, man. Like I'm gonna get really into PS2. Like I'm just gonna like. It's funny you mentioned James Bond. I'm like, man, I really want to play Everything or Nothing. I like really want to play
Yeah,
Agent
dude.
Under Fire and Nightfire and stuff. Like those
Yeah,
games are great.
they
Yeah.
were.
Like I want to play Two Towers. You know,
Yeah.
like I just want to play all that stuff.
So just to
Um,
quickly answer the question, Mech Assault, neither of them are on PC. So it looks like your only option for PC or Steam Deck would be Xbox emulation. So I'll have to figure that out.
I need to do more research into how that works. The only thing I've seen about like emulation actually being good on Steam Deck is GameCube. I know
Yeah.
once you figure it out, I know that works really well. And I have a friend, I'm not going to name them, who's cracked PS2 emulation and has a great time and is able to like dock it and like actually play with a buddy like at
Nice.
work on their lunch breaks and stuff. I'll send you details.
Okay.
But that actually, I'm glad we're talking about the Steam Deck now. Let's dovetail into next subject. You bought a Steam Deck. That's super exciting. You also bought the Ambernic RG35 Flip Boy. I don't know what it's
Yeah.
called. I have the XX.
Why
I'm
do
not
they have
sure
such
which
long
one.
names? It's the RG35XXSP.
Well, okay, we know why it's the SP at the end, but yeah, I have here just like the regular RG35. I just wanted a vertical system because I feel like everything I have now is horizontal, so I just
Yeah.
wanted something that was something that I could very easily fit into a pocket and have like a USB charging, so I could just charge that with my iPad and my phone and do all
Yeah.
that stuff for like traveling. So that's why I was very excited to get that. But like, hey man, you bought a Steam Deck after you bought this smaller little gaming thing.
Yeah.
Do you have any regrets about doubling up?
So not yet, but with the caveat that my Steam Deck comes tomorrow, so I'm not quite there yet. Like I haven't completely jumped on the Steam Deck train. I'm excited for it to come in, and I'm certainly going to emulate all over that thing. But George is showing his. Do you have the LCD or the OLED?
I have the LCD.
Okay. So
I like mine a lot, but again, like my one complaint is like, oh, I kind of wish it were smaller. You know,
Yeah.
That's my one thing. I'm like, I wish it were Switch size. I'm like, no, don't say that.
And yeah, that's my initial complaint. I've never. This is surprising, but I've never actually seen one in person. So when mine shows
really?
up, that'll be the first time I've ever even seen one, let alone held one. So
I think you're going to be really impressed. Honestly, like the button placement, I don't personally love. I wish they were kind of offset the way they are on Switch. The thinness and the toughness of the is like what I'm so impressed with. Like this is like such a sturdy piece of hardware. And it's not that I didn't think Steam could do it, but I just remember those Steam boxes being pushed in like 2013, 2014. Steam machines, thank you. And just being like kind of unimpressed with that. And I know that wasn't like none of that was like a Valve push feature. It was like a licensing deal with Valve. So like I understand that. I'm so impressed with the build of that. I wish it were easier to navigate. Again, going back to the menu complaints I had of GTA Online and Monster Hunter and all that shit. But I'm a dumb boy who's been working on Macs like literally since I was 8 years old. Like that was the family computer we had was a Mac. The state of Maine where I grew up, they had like a deal where like Apple just gave sixth graders a MacBook, and it was like just a test to see if like test scores improved and grades improved, and like they did. So they just kept giving us laptops every year. So I've been pretty indoctrinated into Mac since I was 12 years old, 13 years old. So like a PC is just so beyond foreign to me, and this thing is, for all intents and purposes, just like a little baby Linux based PC. So it's just it's so hard for me to wrap my head around.
So I do want to just back up because I didn't fully answer your question. As far as do I regret getting the Ambernic ahead of the Steam Deck? Well, let me first say, and we'll get into this when we talk about Switch 2 here in a few minutes, but when I bought the Ambernic, I was fully expecting the Steam Deck wasn't even on my mind. So I guess I'll just briefly talk about that because I think that's important to bring up.
Please.
The reason I'm suddenly buying one, even though this is kind of late in the Steam Deck's life cycle, I think it's been out for 3 years almost, and Valve is saying they might have one next year, a new one, but it's more likely it'll be 2027. You know, it's kind of late. Switch 2 is coming out, and So point being, I never really expected to buy one, to be honest with you. Like, I thought maybe when the Steam Deck 2 dropped, that would be the time I would jump in. But what really encouraged me suddenly to do this, two things, and we're going to talk all about it. But the Switch 2 reveal, while I was super hot on it when it first happened, the further we've gotten away from that reveal, and the more that's come out from a price standpoint, from just different other little things like comments, Doug Bowser saying, "Oh, some people just won't be able to afford this." Like, it just kind of pushed me away from the Switch 2. So I'm sure I'll still get one eventually, but it made me, point being, more inclined to get a Steam Deck right now. That was kind of the immediate aftermath of that. And then secondly, I don't want to get political, but you do have to, of course, mention the tariffs when it comes to the gaming industry right now, and what could possibly happen, not just to games, but to the rest of our life, as far as the possibility of prices going up in our day-to-day lives on groceries and goods and things like that. And so,
well, that quick interjection, it's like especially frustrating because, again, to not get political, under the Biden administration, the CHIPS Act was passed, which seemed like there was actually bringing like chip production and like more high-tech manufacturing to the states. And so, like, this decision by the current Trump administration makes it harder to import materials now, which is extremely frustrating, but also seems like it's kind of self-sabotaging those production facilities, which is like, I think getting things like that is the ultimate end goal of the tariffs, to try to spur manufacturing back in the U.S. And it's just like, hey, man, like, don't bite the hand that's feeding you right now before we actually get into, like, a comfortable enough foundation to, like, push this manufacturing widespread. It's just like, man, this is like such a frustrating time. And like you sent an article to our WhatsApp the other day saying that like certain things are exempt from the tariffs, but other things aren't, and that includes video game consoles, right?
Yeah, because they fit under a different international trade code. Yeah, versus computer parts and stuff like that. But the reason I'm bringing all that up, of course, it's going to have an impact on our lives, no matter, again, I'm not giving my viewpoint on that because I don't feel like that's my place. But either way, it's going to have.
I'm a libtard cuck. Come at me whenever you guys want. It's fine.
Yeah. It's going to have some impact on our lives, and I think a likely outcome. Again, this is just me giving a fact, not an opinion on something. But the other day, China and Vietnam signed an agreement, kind of in reaction to all this with the U.S., and so the Switch 2. Made in China and Vietnam. So I think there's a very real possibility. Those, of course, China's already being tariffed, but I think Vietnam could certainly fall under that as well. And so all of that to say, I think there's a very real possibility the Switch 2 increases in price here. Mm-hmm. The games are already expensive. You've got an $80 Mario Kart game. You're dropping Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, games that have been out for years, at $80 on Switch if you don't have them already, an upgrade. All that combines to me for Steam Deck to, well, it may be a little more expensive right now. The one I bought was $550 because I got the 512 gigabyte OLED. But in the long term, those Steam games, dude, they're so cheap. Like, yeah, of course they'll come out at full price. AAA games will come out at full price. But look, to go back earlier in the conversation, I bought 6 DMC games for $30. So
not even that, but like, let's say the Switch 2 is extremely popular despite the price. That means third-party games are going to come to Switch, which means like developers already have an incentive to make it for a high-powered handheld, right? Like, so like it's kind of building in an audience there for third-party games at the very least, anyway.
That's a very roundabout way of me explaining my Steam Deck purchase. Now, to way reverse back again to the original question, do I regret buying the Ambernick and now, having the Steam Deck on the way? No, not at all. Because the Ambernick to me is something I can, throw in the car with me when I'm heading to my parents and, think I might be waiting for them at a restaurant or something for a little bit, or even hopping on a plane. Like, I'm looking forward to taking the Steam Deck with me as I travel. Like, we're actually going on a trip this weekend, and I'm certainly going to bring it with me. But man, just busting out the Ambernick, something that's literally like 3 or 4 inches, at least the SP, and popping it open on an airplane, pulling that out of your carry-on versus pulling out this massive carrying case, unzipping it, pulling out this giant Steam Deck. Just very, very different use cases in my opinion. So I'm really excited actually to have both and be able to swap back and forth between the two.
I hear you, and like I actually bought both as like a means of game preservation for me personally. So like I look at the Ambernick I bought as like okay, this is my 16 and 8-bit preservation tool, right? Like all due respect to Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario World, like I don't need that on a 65-inch TV. Like I just don't. So like this is my portable Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Game Boy Advance, and I own the games that I will be playing on this. So like I don't feel any remorse for doing that. And then I look at the Steam Deck as like, all right, man, this is like my, was it 7th generation? Like this is my PS2, this is my GameCube, this is my Xbox preservation. And so like that was my intention. I don't care for PC games. Like PC games were super interesting to me 15 years ago when it could run shit that your PlayStation couldn't, that your Xbox couldn't. When The Witcher 2 was only available on PC, that was interesting. Now it's not really the case, right? Like people are trying to get sales wherever they can, so they build to the lowest common denominator, and frankly that is PlayStation, that is Xbox. Like there's no more like can it run Crisis happening really on PlayStation, or sorry, on PC. It's like really just like, yeah, RTS games suck on PlayStation, so you shouldn't play them there, right? Like that's like the closest equivalency today. So I look at this as like a portable PlayStation 2, a portable Xbox, a portable GameCube, a portable Dreamcast, and so like that's why I'm cool with it. It's funny you mentioned how you've cooled off on the Switch since the reveal. I was super down on the Switch at the reveal, and I like in the 2 weeks since, I'm like, man, if pre-orders open today, I might. I just
That's
might
fascinating.
do it. I was so pissed the day of, and like we've been talking about it nonstop, where it feels like Nintendo has this PlayStation 3 launch era of hubris when it comes to the Switch, where it's just like, yeah, it's expensive, but you little piggies are going to pay for it. Like that's like the attitude it feels like they have, and that is absolutely the vibe I'm getting from some of these things. But also, like you compare it to like a ROG Ally or something, right? Like it has comparable both have LCD screens, both have HDR, but like the Switch is like half the price of the ROG Ally. So it's like, all right, that's still like a deal, right?
Yeah, and it's thin.
It's little, it's super thin. It's like little shystery things where it's like, all right, what first party games did you guys show off? Like, oh, you showed off Donkey Kong Bonanza, which looks pretty good. I'm not a huge Donkey Kong platformer guy, but like it's got Mario Odyssey vibes, right? It's like that's cool. What's the other thing you showed off? I don't remember what it's called. The wheelchair game.
Drag and Drive.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to like have like 2 Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons on a table to like pull myself forward. I'm like, no, this feels like worse than like Wii era Waggle. Like at least then like, oh, there's Waggle in Super Mario Galaxy. I'm like, yeah, you just have to point the remote. Like it's fine. Like that's okay. Like, oh, to play Star Wars Force Unleashed, I gotta shake it to swing my sword. Like that's whatever. That's fine. This feels like way more intensive and like, oh, you're actually changing the way I want to play games. I don't like that. And then like the $10 welcome park fee or whatever the fuck that game is, like that is honestly bad. Like that is just optically bad of them to do. But so much other things about this console I think are doing right. It sucks that like they're locking GameCube behind this as like an exclusive feature, because I'm like, bro, like Coach has talked about this ad nauseum about like, no, like we saw Super Mario Sunshine, like that was clearly them testing out the emulator for GameCube games on Switch. It's like, yeah, they did it. They cracked it. And they put one GameCube game on. And the two GameCube games that people still want released on Switch, they're just clearly never going to fucking do. So like Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, like the 2 Wii U upgrade ports of GameCube that they have brought, like every other Wii U game has been fine to bring to Switch, but like, nah, we're actually not going to bring these 2 to the consoles. Like, you're so close to having every Zelda game available on one console, and you're going to stop the buck short at the last 2 games that are like the most in-demand ones. Like that's beyond frustrating. But I don't know, man. Besides that, everything seems fine to me. Like you mentioned, like the Breath of the Wild and the Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, you have to pay to upgrade those, or if you have a Nintendo Switch Online membership, it's like a free upgrade, much the same way. Like, I don't think I paid for the Mario Kart DLC because I'm a
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch Online member, and that is easily like the most affordable of any of the online services from any of the consoles manufacturers right now. It's like that's okay to me. I might actually play Breath of the Wild now on Switch 2 if I were to get one, just because I played it on Wii U and like it was okay, and then I just didn't want to play it again on Switch. Um, I'm excited to finally play like Scarlet and Violet. I think every Pokemon game should get a free update. I think Link's Awakening, is that a free update, or is that
It is.
paywall?
Link's Awakening and Echoes of
Okay.
Wisdom are both getting free updates.
Okay, good. They should. Those are two super exciting games. Those are like, I'd say like those are worth getting a console for, like a Switch. Like,
Yeah.
I could see someone getting a Switch Lite for either one of those games. So like,
Sure.
yeah, that should get an upgrade on the new console. And so much the same way that I treated my PlayStation 5 as a super PlayStation 4 for the first fucking 4 years of owning one. I feel like I'm probably going to do that with a Switch 2. And if it stays at the same price, I'm incredibly open to getting one at its price. I also think releasing a console in June is fucking cool.
Yeah.
I think that is such a sick time to do something like this, but I've been talking for too long, so please take it away.
Well, there's a lot. I think you and I are on the same page. It's just we're at different points, like with possibly purchasing, I think. Although, I don't know. There's a lot that I overlap with you on. So, like, for example, if it does stay at $450, if that Mario Kart bundle does drop at $500, like, I'm pretty open to purchasing one early. I mean, I'm a huge Mario Kart fan. I always have been, of course. And Mario Kart World, is that the name of the game?
Yeah. Mario Kart World Tour. Yeah.
Is it World Tour? I thought that was a phone one. I think that's why I keep getting mixed up, though, is because of World Tour.
Yeah.
So Mario Kart World, I think looks excellent. Like, I mean, of course, we haven't had a new Mario Kart game in
10 years,
13 years, really? When did 8 originally come out? I don't even know. It's been a long time. It's been at least a decade.
Like 11 years. I think I grabbed it in 2014, right when I moved back to Boston. I bought that. I bought GTA on PlayStation 4, and I bought Far Cry 4 the same day. And that just financially ruined me for like a month and a half. Totally worth it.
It was May 2014. So, yeah, I mean, 11 years almost at this point. I mean, that alone, if the game is good, if it's really a big upgrade from 8 and 8 Deluxe, I mean, gosh, $500 is a lot of money, but at the same time, I played so much of 8. I mean, I don't know. I really enjoyed that game. So
that's the thing about Mario Kart, where I'm just like, it doesn't seem that much fun to drive to your next race from your previous race.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also like, on the other hand, I'm like, why are you doubting Nintendo? I'm like, that's a good call.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that. And in my head, I'm like, oh no, I kind of just want like the tournament system. It's like, I feel like they kind of said everything they had to say about classic Mario with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So like, how about you trust the professionals to try something new? And like, that's like what I keep trying to tell myself. And I'm trying to apply that also to Donkey Kong, where I'm like, I've never given a shit about Donkey Kong. It's like, okay, but this looks really different. So how about you give it a chance, you know?
I mean, look, the games they announced, the games that are coming out this year on that thing, or that are getting upgrades, free upgrades on Switch 2, they have a really good library this year between Mario Kart, Donkey Kong looks excellent. I know I'm in the minority, but I was so glad when they showed that and not a 3D Mario. It's nice to have something different, in my opinion. But I'm biased because I didn't really like Odyssey that much. So.
It's like us 3D Mario fans are eating pretty lean, though. You know, between like there was Odyssey in 2017, right? That was like a launch year game, like in the fall, right? Yep. And then there was Bowser's Fury, which was like phenomenal.
Yep.
Which did you play Bowser's Fury?
Oh yeah, 100% of Bowser's Fury and 3D World.
It's so great. And then like I didn't love Super Mario Wonder. Actually, frankly, I didn't think it was bad, but I'm just like, oh, like you guys think this is the best 2D? Like I'd rather play Deluxe again.
That game didn't catch me at all. I was so uninterested in that game. But
Yeah.
Anyway, so Donkey Kong you've got, and then you've got, games that are cross-platform but are getting big upgrades on Switch 2. Metroid Prime 4, of course, and then Pokemon Legends ZA looks significantly better on Switch 2, in my opinion, from that snippet of footage they showed. And then, like, Coach, of course, and I are huge fans of the Warriors franchise. When they showed that new Hyrule Warriors, the third in the series, being connected canonically to Tears of the Kingdom coming out this year, awesome. The one thing I would say about Age of Calamity I wasn't a big fan of was it was this big what-if kind of situation. It was a prequel to Hyrule Warrior, or to Breath of the Wild, but it was not canon. And this one is a prequel, but is canon. So I think that's really exciting. But point being, the library they've got coming out this year on the thing is excellent. I think the hardware itself looks great. I do worry about the price of the thing going up. I think if it's like any higher than $550, like I think once you hit $550 without any games included, that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to purchase this anytime soon. $500, I would maybe still consider it.
$500, I will absolutely still consider it. $550, I think you're right. I think that is kind of like the breaking point. But I was super down on. I was expecting $399. Like, I guess that is like super naive of me, but like, I don't know. Like, Nintendo likes marketing itself more as a toy than like a tech thing, right? Like, so like, I guess I was expecting that, and like part of the reason I think the Switch was so successful is because it was $299 for its entire lifetime until it was $199 for the Lite. And like, I have a friend who has kids, and like he bought a Lite for himself so that he could play old Zelda games on it before bed and like enjoy the games he bought for his kids, but like, get to play by himself. And I'm like, oh man, like I totally get that. He's not gonna drop $500 for the Switch 2 just like that's gonna be like a hard sell. That's gonna be like, okay, man, this is gonna be like your birthday present and your Christmas present, and my birthday present and my Christmas present. Like that's gonna be like the argument there. I'm like, and again, like I don't want to sell them short. Like everything is more expensive. So it's like I get why they're charging more, but like, man, like the welcome park being $10, I'm like, that's greedy shit, man. Like that is fucking snaky shit.
I don't disagree. I will say at least it's only $10. Like if it was 20 or more, I would really be. I mean, there's not even a thought of purchasing that. Not that I even would pay $10 for it, but still, I agree with you. I mean,
no, but it's not even like Astrobot was free. Yes, Astrobot was a game, whatever. But like, this doesn't seem like a game. This is like a tour of the console. But like, Astrobot was a tech demo, sure, but it was a game.
Was it?
Right?
Like, it was a tech demo, but it was a great platformer too. It wasn't just like, here's how the magnets work on your Joy-Cons.
Also, one of my great joys the past few months has actually been getting way back into IGN podcasts. And it's like I listened. There was Logan Plant, I think is the guy's name, and Brian Altano, who like, okay, he's been there for as long as I've been listening. Like I remember that name. Sorry if it's not Logan Plant, but they were talking about it, and they were like explaining like some of the things from it. They're like, they show like an action. They're like, okay, was that 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second? I'm like, that's not a fucking game. Like, what are you talking about, man? Like, you're charging $10 for that? That's ridiculous. And like, at least Astrobot was like, we have a thing that looks like Cloud Strife over here. Like that's kind of cool, right? I'm like, that is super cool. And the music for the Jungle GPU is fucking phenomenal. So like, you guys crushed it. But so like, that's why like, I don't know, man. Like it's shit like that rubs me the wrong way. It's not that Mario Kart looks different that pissed me off at first, and I'm like, who the hell are you to tell Nintendo how to make a Mario Kart game? It's not that Donkey Kong Bonanza, whatever. Like, it's not like, oh, it's a 3D Donkey Kong instead of that. It's not that. It's like literally the little things, and it is like, okay, Wind Waker not getting like the Wii U, like that kind of sucks. Like that was the better. I played both. That was the better version. Was the Wii U version? Not getting Twilight Princess, but like probably getting it on GameCube, and like, motherfucker, like we should have both. Like we should be able to compare both on the same system. It's shit like that. But like, they also showed like the new GameCube games. That's super exciting because for whatever reason I can't find my copy of Guy of Darkness or whatever the hell it's called. And
Gale of Darkness.
Gale of Darkness or Pokemon Battle Coliseum, like the other 3D one that came
Yeah.
on a GameCube. I can't find those copies. I need to raid my dad's house because like I know
They're
I
expensive.
have those. Yeah, I know I have them, but I can't find them, and it's really pissing me off. But like it's cool to see like those are the ones hints of that, and like Kirby Air Ride. Oh, Kirby Air Ride got announced. And
forgot about that.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy
New
that Sakurai was
game.
like,
yeah,
released from his just Smash shaped prison, that he's able to work on something else and go back to the well with Kirby, which God bless him.
I love that teaser, by the way, because Sakurai, I mean, I'm sure you know this. If people out there listening don't know, of course, he really started working on Kirby back like in the 90s, and then
he created Kirby.
Yeah,
right?
And then he did, and then became kind of the Smash Brothers guy. But if you play Smash and you pay attention, you would know that Kirby's the main character of those games.
Oh, yeah.
And so when this trailer started and they showed Kirby falling out of the sky, that is like 100% the Smash Brothers Kirby model. My first thought was like, they're doing a Smash already on Switch 2? And then they showed the little engine pop out of the Superstar, which I loved. I mean, I'm admittedly, Kirby Air Ride is not a great game, but I think they can take what they learned from that and hopefully make it good.
I don't think you can't take back.
I don't know. It's fine. The controls are kind of rough.
No, it's like baby's first kart racer.
Yeah,
like it is. But I'm excited to see like a 2025 perspective on it, or a 2026. I think that game is coming this year. We'll see. But we have a question from Star Saver in the YouTube chat. What do you guys think about Japan getting a region-locked, cheaper console than the rest of the world? I am frustrated because it seems like this is their version of like Nintendo Switch Lite. Like they just get one that's like a discounted price. But also I'm like, geopolitically, economically, fuck everyone else right now. Like I get that.
Well, it's really complicated, and frankly, I don't feel totally up to speed on the situation, but I do know that the Japanese yen is considered extremely weak right now, and so I have a feeling that's what's happening here. Is
dollar's getting weaker every day, so
it is.
We'll see.
It is, but I have a feeling that's what's going on here, to be honest with you. Is the Japanese economy is not in a great state, and has not been in a great state for several years now. They had a really hard time recovering after COVID, unlike some of the more Western countries. I have a feeling, this is just speculation, but I have a feeling that's why they're getting that version of the system. And for those who are unaware, it's the equivalent of about $350 US. So it's about $100 cheaper. It can only have Japanese language on the system, so there's no English compatibility whatsoever. I'm assuming that means it can only access the Japanese eShop. I don't know though. And I don't know for sure. I didn't think the games themselves were region locked, but they might be. I don't know, to be honest with you.
I don't know if the carts are.
Yeah, that's what I'm not sure about. I'm not positive, so I don't know.
Yeah, because DS wasn't region locked, but 3DS was region locked.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, but also I assume anything can be modded pretty easily, especially if there's that was another part that I forgot to bring up. The extra SD card, like the super special micro SD card that you need.
It's expensive.
It is quite Vita-like, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I first saw the Direct and was super hot on it, I immediately ordered a 512 gigabyte card from SanDisk, and it was $100. Well, I just bought I don't have it with me, but for my Steam Deck, a 512 gigabyte SD that fits with the Steam Deck specifications. And admittedly, it's way slower, but it was $37 versus $100. Yeah, so
that's rough. Yeah, I was a little disingenuous comparing it to Vita, but like the presentation of it was very Vita-like. It wasn't like it's going to cost $120 for 64 gigabyte. Like you're not like paying like that kind of astronomical pricing, but you're not paying it too. Like it is like a little like, oh, you guys purposely didn't have this in the announcement because like you knew it would make you look bad.
Yeah. You know, that is important to bring up, especially as we're talking about pricing. Star Saver said in the chat, just to kind of respond to us, he said he's up in Canada. He said Switch is $6.99 up there, and he said their economy's not in a great shape either. So it's kind of annoying that they get a special discounted console. I'm sure other countries are in the same boat. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with anything he says. I mean, I would be curious to know if they ever comment on why specifically they did the 350 USD console there, but.
Star Saver, let me say to you, as someone in the United States, I don't agree with this current administration's economic policy. I think it's really destructive in a lot of ways that aren't in line with things that this administration says it wants. And frankly, I don't think they actually mean that they want, because they're not doing anything to make that happen. But especially as someone from Maine, I'm really sorry for what this current economic situation is doing to Canada. And fuck, man, $6.99.
Yeah, that is pretty intense.
It's just like the sticker shock of that is just like such a big ass number, man. Like I don't know what to do with that. Like I was freaking out at 500 with a game, you know.
Yeah. But I do want to focus on that. So the reason I want to stick on this is you brought up something which still really bugs me, which is the fact that they had this whole hour-long thing about the Switch 2 and didn't give the prices on anything during that direct. And I've heard some people say, well, it's probably because the direct was like shown off to all Western countries. And that's not how that works. It's shown off by like the marketing divisions of Nintendo. So the Japanese, they had a different direct than the Americans had. And they could have easily put
different than Europe, different than South America, Latin America, all that stuff.
They could have easily put prices in that direct. And I know clearly that was a marketing decision for them, but it just felt so shady to have this hour-long direct, end it with no sense of price discussion, and then all that come out in press releases. I found that very strange. But I do want to ask you, because we haven't talked about it, how do you feel about the $80 games specifically, about the price increase?
I think for Mario Kart, I was super pissed about it because like Donkey Kong's not $80.
It's not $70.
Right? Donkey Kong's $70. For Mario Kart, I was like kind of especially pissed off about it, but then I like really thought about the value of Mario Kart 8. And like I don't think that like, what if you bought a game for $5 and then like you just like a subscription model, like you just keep giving them money for the more time you spent in it. So it's like $5 a month, like a subscription type thing. I'm like, no, that's really dangerous. I actually don't want to do that. I think I'm like frustrated because like I didn't think of any company, Nintendo would be the ones to like already jump it up $10 again, US, right? Like they felt like they would have been like the last holdouts. But also like it feels like everyone's really been tight, like every manufacturer has been tightening their belts the last 7 years. Like there was a greatest hits type line for PS4. We are 5 years into PlayStation 5. I haven't seen a greatest hits type line. We are 8 years into Switch. I haven't seen a Switch greatest line. Walmart has its own section of $20 Switch games. They're usually dog shit games, as opposed to like the Nintendo Selects for Wii, for Wii U. Like I got Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze for $20 on Wii U. As part of the Nintendo Selects line,
right? And
that just seems like maybe we're just like post value, like maybe as consumers we just can no longer afford certain things at that price point, or companies can't rather afford things at that price point, which is like kind of shocking to me. I thought the era of like mass production would have made things cheaper, but it seems like, no, you don't understand how expensive these factories are. It's like, well, then what's the fucking point of these massive factories if like you can't actually make things at a cheaper price? So, like, wasn't that the whole point? And like, granted, I'm not an economics student, so like I don't really know what I'm talking about, but like just the idea of supply and demand, like that was what I was kind of working on. I'm okay, I think, with an $80 price tag, strictly because of what Nintendo did for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But that is so thin, because like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was one of the first games, like that was the Mario Kart game for the entire console generation, and they supported it for the entire console generation. Like I think it came out with the 2 waves of DLC.
Correct.
that were on the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, oh fuck, this is great, getting to play all this. And then they doubled the size of the game after that. So you essentially got a second Mario Kart game for free.
Right.
Now, are they going to do that with this? I don't know, especially since this seems like a much more intricate and complicated arrangement of levels for a Mario Kart game, where like the making the cut shit seems so fucking cool, right? Where it's like 30 people in a race, get to the first leg of the race.
Battle Royale
kind of mode. Are you the top 20? Cool, you move on. You know, they're just like exactly like F-Zero 99 shit, but just applied to Mario Kart. Like, this is great. I get to play as the fat fucking cow from Mumetas. Like, that's awesome. Like that's great. So like Nintendo has my trust, but like they could lose it tomorrow. You know, like I'm willing to trust them. But honestly, what kind of rubbed me the wrong way, I feel like they showed 3 fewer first-party games than they should have. Like, I'm okay. I'm looking at all the list of third-party games: Fast Fusion, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade, Fortnite, Kirby, or not Kirby. Sorry, that was against my point. NBA 2K, Project 007 from IO,
Cyberpunk.
whatever. Like, yeah, Cyberpunk, Star Wars Outlaws. Like, it's great to see all this third-party support. But it's like, all right, so we got some DLC packs for some pre-existing games. We got Mario Party Jamboree expansion. We got Kirby and the Forgotten Land expansion. We've got high-res upgrades with, like, I guess, like, if you want to count Tears of the Kingdom, like, with a Zelda app that you can use with Tears of the Kingdom, like, that's actually super cool. I'm into that. Metroid Prime 4, which is also a Switch 1 game. Pokemon Legends ZA, which is also a Switch 1 game. I was kind of hoping for like 2 more Nintendo Switch. Like, it's not like this was a surprise. And like, we've been expecting like a Nintendo Switch Pro for 5 years. We've been expecting some kind of like increase in power from Nintendo Switch for a minute. And so it's like, this didn't surprise us. And like, this certainly didn't surprise Nintendo. So like, why wasn't there more on the first party feature? But like, I assume there's going to be another Nintendo Switch Direct in June once Switch 2 releases, at least in parts of the world. We'll see about the US and Canada. Sorry, Canada, also for dragging you down, because I know pre-orders didn't open in Canada, even though it's like the US who has like the tariff shit, and it's just because like all the consoles are localized for English speaking. Yeah, that sucks. Sorry about that, Canada.
I agree with you. Like, Mario Kart, when I first saw the $80, I was like, not great. But at the same time, depending on, of course, we haven't seen this Mario Kart 8 or Mario Kart World Direct. I don't even know when it is. I think it's next week. So we don't really know. But if they pull like a Splatoon or something, or an Animal Crossing, where they say, hey, this is $80, but we're going to give you a free new track every couple months. Like, of course, that's not as expansive as the like 80 DLC tracks or whatever it is that we got in total over 2 consoles on Mario Kart 8, but it's still something. Like, it's free updates. So that could warrant more of an $80 price to me, but it depends on if that's what they do. My big concern in all this, and this didn't actually come to me until a few days later, is the fact that, and you brought it up, the PlayStation Selects versions or whatever they were called, like the red cases, and Nintendo had their own thing on Wii U and 3DS as well, and back in the GameCube days and whatnot. That's not around anymore, but not only is that not around, Nintendo specifically keeps all their games as close as possible to MSRP. So
why the fuck is Tropical Freeze? Why is Tropical Freeze still so expensive?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah.
That is actually what bothers me, I think, about the situation. When I really think about it, the fact that Mario Kart 8, or I keep saying 8, Mario Kart World is going to come out in June at $80, and I guarantee you 3 to 4 years from now, it's still going to be at least $70. So,
hey man, that's what Woot is for, you know?
That's a little concerning to me, but look, I mean, game prices, the cost to make a game, inflation, like, it's all going up. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask $80 for a game. I just, as a consumer, I hope that they're quality.
It's just, I feel like if anything, Tears of the Kingdom should have been $80. Like, maybe not on Switch 1. If they save Tears of the Kingdom, it's Should Tears of the Kingdom 2, or sorry, should Tears of the Kingdom been a launch game for Switch 2?
Ooh. How long ago was that?
Yep.
2 years ago? 2023, I think.
Oh, I thought it was 2024. Okay, I didn't play it, so I don't know.
I don't know. I think what they're doing is fine, to be honest with you. What I do think should have been a launch title or closer is Metroid Prime 4. I think.
Yeah. They couldn't, though, because they announced it at the 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
Like, I was still living in San Francisco when they announced that.
I don't know. I feel like I'm a big fan of the consoles. This is just a personal problem, I suppose. But I'm a big fan of when consoles come out and have two good first-party games. This one's not really. It's just Mario Kart, and that's pretty much it. I mean, you've got the remasters or upgrades for the Zeldas, but there's not really anything else coming out launch day.
I assume it's gonna launch, but like I also like I don't remember the details exactly. So like Soul Calibur 2 is coming to the GameCube online, which is super cool.
Awesome.
Is it online playable? Like is that like the way how you get like enhanced like Super Nintendo games? Like is it like that? Like I can't remember. I don't know. It didn't make that much of an impression on me if it were. So there's still so many questions. There's going to be more directs. I assume they're going to do like another E3 type thing this summer. Probably not in June and maybe, but like also I do kind of like that Donkey Kong's releasing not at launch but 2 weeks later. Like it does give me like Melee vibes for GameCube, where it's just like, oh hey, by the way, like get your shit for launch, and then in 2 weeks when you're hungry for a new game, we got you right here, you know. So
just two things. The Star Saver in the chat said $80 games they can live with, and N64 games used to be crazy expensive, and that is so true. Super Nintendo as well had like $120 games. I think one of the Final Fantasy or Dragon Warrior back in the day, like one of them was like $140 or something on Super Nintendo. And then Darth Biscuit 116 kind of gave a similar opinion. He said he'll pay $80 for a game as long as it's complete and doesn't run terrible like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which it's the concern, man. That's the concern, I think, is Nintendo has a pretty good track record with quality. Like, I think of any to ask for $80 and actually deserve it, it probably is them with their first-party games. But there are those, like, Scarlet and Violet.
No, they need the fewest amount of patches. They need the fewest amount of updates. Like, they are experts in their field, absolutely. But, like, $80 is a big number. And,
it
like,
is,
again,
as a consumer,
I want to trust them. They are the only company that I think really deserves the trust. Like, I love Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 was my game of the year last year, I think. Probably. Or no, Astrobot was. Helldivers was my runner-up. But like, man, that game still kind of runs like shit sometimes. You know? Like I still get kicked out of matches a bunch. I'm looking for something really quick. Because like I understand that games used to be more expensive. And so like technically you're coming out ahead now. Like paying $80 now is not the same as paying $80 in the 90s. However, everything else was cheaper. So like it's a little. That's
also true.
It's a little bit different. I did the math the other day, and it was just like, oh, like the Nintendo, the NES came out like roughly the same price as like the Switch 2 is coming out now, but it was in the 80s. I'm like, yeah, but also like if you that's adjusted for inflation, sure, but if you adjust other things for inflation, like a Whopper meal was like $1.20. So now like adjusted for inflation, that's like $3.75, and now it's $11. So it's like actually like everything's more expensive. So like it's you can justify buying a $500 Nintendo console, but like when lunch costs you $17 to get a sandwich downtown, then all of a sudden a $500 console is like a little bit tougher to swallow when you got to buy lunch every day. Like it's shit like that where it just adds up, and then you're like, wait, what are we doing? Like what? Money's fake anyway. Like why are we operating like this? It's frustrating. Anyways, Austin, I think the only thing we haven't really talked about. So how much more time you got? I realize it's getting late.
I can do a few more minutes here.
All right, really quick, game chat. Do you give a shit about this at all? I personally don't. It looks like
not at all.
It looks like a Skype call from 2009.
No, not at all. The I know the Pro controller has a mic on it, a la the DualSense, like it's a similar setup, but you cannot reasonably tell me. I don't care what NVIDIA noise canceling software that thing has. My mic is using that right now. That thing is not, that tiny little mic slot is not going to hear you from 25, 30 feet away on your console. Like the way my living room is set up, if I were to play my Switch 2 in my living room, that thing is like on a bookshelf. It's going to be competing with a sound bar for my voice. Absolutely no chance. So I think that whole thing is very odd to me. And then I really hate the game sharing where it's like 3 frames per second when you're looking at your friends play.
No,
What's the point?
It seriously looks like Skype from 2009 when you first found out about Skype. You're like, oh, this is kind of cool. I don't have to go over to my friend's dorm. I can just talk to them from here, and then it just choppy shit the entire time. The peripheral for plugging it in, I don't love that. Like, I do appreciate the safety measures that Nintendo's taking, and also like on top of that, I appreciate the anti scammer, like the anti. Like the fact that there is like a protection for pre-ordering the console where like you have to have like a Nintendo account, you have to have a certain amount of hours registered. I'm like, okay, that's actually like a progressive idea of thinking about how to pre-order to avoid scammers and drop shippers and all that shit. Like, that's actually really cool. But like, man, game chat, I don't care. I honestly, I kind of applauded Nintendo for not having a more innovative solution on Switch and just telling you like, fuck off, use Discord. I'm like, well, Discord's great, and I've got my phone in my pocket anyway.
That's what I would have done anyway. Yeah.
So who gives a shit? You know, like,
I'm still going to keep using Discord with this. It's not going to change anything. So
yeah, probably right. And like, I don't need like a live feed camera of the people I'm housing. Like, that's great for streamers. Like, that's great if you're doing a streaming tournament. I'm not that use case, man. Like, I'm gonna play Mario Kart with you realistically twice, and then you're gonna go back to fucking Monster Hunter, whatever. And so like, I don't need a camera set up to play Mario Kart with you. It's cool that they have it set up, but again, that seems like a very pandemic response to video gaming. Yeah, and not that we're post-pandemic. I understand COVID is still like a very real issue. I'm still scared of getting COVID. I still mask up when I go to movies because I'm like, it's not worth getting COVID to see Captain America, fucking Winter Soldier, whatever this shit is. But like, our New World Order, whatever.
Yes.
I can't remember what it was. I can't remember whatever that Captain America movie was. I'm like, I'm not getting COVID. I got COVID at Beetlejuice 2. That wasn't worth it. Good movie, but not worth COVID. So like, yeah, I don't care about that. But I think we covered pretty much all of our bases when it came to Switch. The only thing we didn't talk about was the rumored Oblivion remake, which I've been begging for this remake. I don't need Skyrim to be playable on every device. I need this, and frankly, fucking update Morrowind. Keep the systems just tidied up and make it look like I'm not playing something in MS-DOS. That would be so cool. And God, I hope this is true, because I've tried to get Oblivion to work on my Steam Deck, and I want to pull my hair out, and I hate everything about it. And I'm about to play it again on my Xbox, but frankly, I want the trophies, and I hope it comes to PlayStation. And that's all I've got to say about that. Any closing thoughts on the rumored Oblivion remake?
I'm excited. I don't know what I'm going to play first when I get my Steam Deck tomorrow. You know, I think the thing I'm most excited for, though, for some odd reason, is a lot of older games. And I think that's just because it's like, you got to, of course, fit with the computational power of the Steam Deck. It's not going to be able to play Final Fantasy 16 super well or things like that. So I have a feeling it's going to force me back into some older games. And Skyrim is one of them. That's something we talked about, I think, before we started streaming here. But I never beat Skyrim. I got to the final mission in Skyrim, ironically, on the PS3 after it had been patched a little bit. It still wasn't great, but
lucky bastard. I never got that far in PS3.
Yeah. I got pretty far, and that's the last time I really played it. So I actually think that might be the first, if not one of the first games I play on the Steam Deck. But I've never played any other Elder Scrolls games. Skyrim's the only one I've played. If they drop that Oblivion upgrade, remaster, whatever, next week, like that rumor is saying, Jeff Grubb corroborated that this morning along with Insider Gaming.
I saw that. Yeah. And Eurogamer too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's happening. So I don't know exactly what's going on with Microsoft. I don't know if they have like an event scheduled for next week and I'm just not aware of it, or if this is going to be like a shadow drop situation. But man, if they drop that, that might be what I play instead of Skyrim first on the deck, because I always hear so much good about that game.
I hope it comes to PlayStation. I'm a little worried because Indiana Jones is coming out, I think, this week or next week on PlayStation. They're like, you bitches already got your Microsoft game. Like, let us have this for a bit. Because that game never got trophies on PlayStation 3, and that upsets me to no end. But Austin, I think we've about tapped this keg, so let's call it a night. Also, I really have to go to the bathroom. So, thank you so much for listening to Frameskip, a video game podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at FrameSkipPod. You can follow me on Twitter at ShortboxSummary. Are you still on Twitter?
I am. I like retweet. I don't do much else. I don't really post that often.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back in your ears hopefully sooner rather than later. Austin, love you to pieces, and I'll talk to you soon, bud.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Frameskip. Don't forget you can find the show on social media at FrameSkipPod. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also follow us each individually on Twitter. George is at ShortboxSummary, Seth is at Seth the 90s Kid, and I, Austin Eller, am at Austin J. Eller on Twitter. If you've got a question, comment, or topic you'd like to hear discussed on the next episode of Frameskip, you can do so by submitting it to us on social media. Email us at frameskippodcast@gmail.com or visit bit.ly/frameskipq. That's bit.ly/frameskipq. The show is typically live on YouTube every week, either on Tuesday or Wednesday. You can find our YouTube channel at bit.ly/frameskiplive. Don't forget to subscribe and be notified when we do go live, typically at about 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.